guys. So in the last video we talked a little bit about defending yourself with a stick. Now for a knife, uh, don't really recommend really ever using a knife almost in any situation. Uh, just because you always look like the asshole um, if you're using one of these in a situation, right? Usually there's someone else coming up to you with a knife, right? So you're not going to be the one being like, hey, I'm just going to walk up and just whip out a knife on somebody, right? You're not supposed to ever be the aggressor. They're coming up to you. So in the event that they come up to you, right? Someone comes up to you with a knife and they're attacking you. You're not armed with a knife. The last thing you should ever do here, I'm gonna set this knife down. The last thing you should ever do is try to do this whole I'm gonna try to take it out of his hand thing. He's just gonna cut you up, right? He's gonna carve you up pretty badly. What I highly recommend you do is run. So hopefully you have good cardio, which is something I'm working on. So, but in the event, right, that he has a knife and you have a knife, uh, that's a bad situation. Hopefully, it's never a situation you ever have to be in. You're both gonna get cut up. I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of videos. They used to have live leaks and some other channels out there where um, you can watch weird stuff like that. Uh, Fortunately, I think they took live leaks down. So, um, but those are most brutal videos, right? So you don't ever want to get into a knife on knife situation ever, ever. That's a really bad situation. Now, the final event where somehow you have a knife on you and they have a knife on them, uh, you know, that's a very bad situation. But I know when I was doing martial arts, we did actually have some kind of a knife instructor. This is when I did jujitsu back in high school, third degree brown belt. Um, we actually had like some, you know, we actually have multiple different martial arts instructors. They're basically friends of my sensei. They came down and did some like short classes with us just for fun. But I can still remember some of the things they were teaching us. Simple, basic moves, right? Like one thing you never want to do in a knife situation. I'll kind of show you guys from the side. At least this is one thing I really remember. You don't ever want to do this whole thing, right? Some people think you want to do this. That leaves this entire part of your body open, right? So you don't ever want to have that part open. What you want to do, preferably, is more like this situation, right? So you keep one hand, the backhand should be protecting your throat if he has some kind of a weapon, knife or whatever. So this hand should be protecting your throat, and then this one should be fishing, basically fishing. Um, some people some people do this. Some people do like this, whatever. I mean, the guy who came to our class and did the instruction, he was more or less doing this, like this, right? And he would do random. I remember him doing random movements. So he wouldn't be doing this whole thing because someone can just easily memorize your pattern if you're just doing this the entire time, right? And as soon as you go down or you go up, then they can seize your hand, grab your hand, pull it down, slash your hand, whatever. So in that situation, you want to just make it just random, right? Random movements, and this should be like a shield between you and them. And once again, I guess in that situation, now, I've never been in a knife like a knife fight because that'd be freaking scary. Um, uh, if you're ever in that situation, right? And they got a knife, you got a knife. Unfortunately, you know, you wanna, you're basically like fishing, right? Doing this whole thing, you're kind of moving around, waiting, you know. But in that situation, I don't think. I mean, I know it's bad to say, but if you guys already have knives on each other, that means someone's gonna have to attack at some point. Unless you, I mean, most people don't just pull away from a knife fight. You pull a knife out on somebody, they pull a knife out on you, or vice versa, or whatever happens. You guys have knives in your hands. You're past the point of no return, right? Because if you decide, hey, I'm just gonna back away, and you try to walk away, they can come behind you, you know, and stab you in the back, right? So, or even if you back away, now you're off balance. So you always want to make sure that you keep, you keep that hand, uh, up and about, moving around, unpredictable. So they try to grab, you can, you know, you know, just quick movements, quick movements, right? Um, but it's nothing elaborate, right? You don't have to be an expert in martial arts. Once again, like same thing with the sticks that I did in the last video. You don't have to be some professional thrower. By the way, another thing I never recommend uh, is throwing your knife. Why would you throw your knife at somebody? Some people, talk about throwing knives and all this stuff, right? Why would you throw away your weapon? Doesn't make any sense. So in that situation, there's by the way, there's a lot of different methods for holding a knife, right? There's a little grip down here you can push, do that kind of thing. That's because my knife is made that way. Now, not every knife is made the same way, but people hold their knives, in different, thumb, there's just different methods, right? But you're just basically trying to paint a shield between yourself and them. Once again, never like this because they can carve you up from this side, right? Or from, if you have your front hand up, knife hand back, they can just slash the crap out of you, right? So more or less like this, right? So um, yeah, in that situation, also another thing I remember a lot of my martial arts training, but one thing I did learn as well as man, it's hot as hell out here. But one thing I did learn as well is that you're not trying to go for vital organs actively. Now passively, you can go for vital organs. And some people say, well, what's the point of that? It doesn't make any sense. Well, the whole point of that is when we're doing this whole thing, and you're trying to go for someone's freaking, femoral artery down there, or neck, or whatever. You're trying to you're trying to do that. You're focused on that, and then you're going to get cut, right? So, uh, your best opportunity to survive with, I'd say, potentially minimum damage, potentially, is is you're doing your thing, right? You're doing your thing, and you're just moving or dancing around. He tries to go for you. Boom. Now you can cut him. Boom. Right there. You're gonna have more success by cutting his hand because now he's gonna start bleeding, and he tries to do it again. Boom. Right. And he tries try to go around you. You know. Boom. Right. Boom. You cut him about 2 or 3 times. Right. He's gonna start bleeding everywhere. And the more he bleeds, the more he's going to get discouraged. So your point, I would say, honestly, defensively, you're not supposed to be the attacker. And I know that's like a lose-lose situation. You don't ever want to end up in this situation at all, ever. But if you do, I don't recommend going in and trying to cut him up. Because say you cut him up, right, and you kill him, now you look like the asshole. So you should always potentially try to defend yourself as much as possible. Now, if he's going all in and he's trying to kill you, right, then I guess you got to do your thing. But defensively minded speaking, right, you want to make sure that you are, you're trying to keep him off balance as well, you know. And it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of people think, oh, you got to use certain perfect movements to do, to hurt somebody. No, no, it's just don't do the same movement. If I'm doing this whole thing like this, or something ridiculous like that, now as soon as I drop my hand, boom, now he's coming in, right? You're gonna grab me, cut me, whatever. So you just want to make sure that you're constantly, always. He never knows exactly where you're coming from, right? Because you can from here. Oh, let me step back. Here, right? All it is just painting. It's like with a brush. You're painting, and with short strokes, by the way, you're not doing this whole thing. You're not doing that. You're doing short, choppy movements. If he's trying to get you, you can step back, right? That's what you're doing. So that's kind of the basics of martial arts, or what you call knife fighting with a simple blade. That's a nice little blade here, but that's what I got for you guys today. So, what are you guys' thoughts on knife fighting? Don't ever put yourself in that situation. Run away, number one option. Number two option is if you don't have a knife and he has a knife, you better run. And if he gets you, I don't know, man, it sucks. That will suck. Let's just say that will suck. Don't be trying to grab the knife from the guy. You know, they show those techniques where the guy is like slowly coming in and you slowly step out of the way and you take him down. That doesn't really work in real life. Um, yeah, punches come a lot faster, strikes come a lot faster than your katas that you did in martial arts where you know, that stuff is fairy tales.